economy, American locomotive moves, GE makes different decisions. They were just economic forces outside of our control. Part of it is the state did not react appropriately in the past. I believe that. You can't solve a problem if you're not willing to admit it. And for many years, the state was just increasing taxes. You keep increasing taxes and taxes and taxes, people will find a more competitive location. They will. People are more mobile now than ever before. Businesses can pick up their laptop and leave. Young people making a decision about where to live, they can shop different states, different regions. And for many years, we just kept raising taxes. Why did we raise taxes? Because the state spending was going up so high. It's a very simple calculus. Why am I putting on weight? Because you're eating too much. That's why. My grandfather, my father's father, Andre, I was named for him, used to watch these diet commercials on TV. He would say, I don't understand why it's so complicated. You want to lose weight, shut your mouth, he used to say. We had a state spending rate that was going up at twice the rate of inflation. You keep spending that much money, you have to raise taxes at that rate, and that's what we were doing. And that hurt especially upstate New York. New York City is a little different. Companies were vested in New York City, and they were a little slower to relocate. But upstate, they could just pick up and move. So we paid that price. Now, we've fixed that. We have gotten state spending under control in a way we have not done in modern history in New York State. We now have a 2% spending limit. We won't go up more than 2% year to year. Hard to maintain. Fiscal discipline, everybody's for it. It's just hard to do on a day-to-day basis. But we have done it. We've done it every year that I've been governor. And because we've spent less, you take in fewer calories, you will lose weight. We have spent less, and we've been able to reduce taxes. Every New Yorker pays a lower state tax rate today than the day I was elected governor. Every New Yorker. Yeah, people find it hard to believe that government could actually reduce tax rates. It's true. Every tax rate, from the top to the bottom. We have the lowest manufacturing tax rate since 1917. Lowest corporate tax rate since 1968, lowest middle class tax rate since 1948. It's really amazing. And we capped property taxes at 2%. Property taxes are actually the most onerous tax in the state. Property taxes are about double what the state income tax is. Franklin Delano Roosevelt used to go on a rant about this when people would complain about the taxes in New York. Talk about thin-skinned. He did not want to hear about complaints about taxes. And he was very emphatic to make it clear. It was not the state income tax. It was the local real estate tax, the property taxes that were going up. So the property tax cap made a major difference. So that was one mistake I believe the state made. The second mistake was, you see the old economy leaving, you see GE leaving, you see American Locomotive leaving. How did you think you were going to transition to the new economy? A new economy doesn't just evolve. You had to come up with a plan, and then somebody had to invest in that plan, right? Every state is competing for the new businesses, the new growth. You can't just sit there and wait for something to spring up on the old GE plant. You have to figure it out. What's your vision? What's your plan? And then somebody had to go first and invest in that plan, provide that startup capital to make the transformation, and that should have been the state government. The state did not do that. Didn't plan, and it didn't invest. Why? Well, because the state legislature, predominantly from New York City, and legislators are there to provide for their home district, right? When Angelo is in the legislature, he loves the Bronx and he loves Brooklyn, I'm sure. But he's worried about protecting his district and bringing home funds for his district. You have a majority of the legislators from New York City. Don't be surprised when for years you had New York City getting the bulk of the funding. We reversed that 180 degrees. And I said, look, let's just look at the facts. Upstate New York is what needs the investment. That's where the economy is slow. And we're one state at the end of the day. If you do better with the upstate economy, it also helps downstate. So we're not really picking one versus the other. There is no one versus the other. We're one state, one family, one balance sheet. We raise the entire state. And I am so proud to be able to say my administration has invested more in upstate New York than any administration ever. We have invested over $44 billion in upstate New York. To find who's the next closest governor, you'd go to DeWitt Clinton, who did the Erie Canal, $7 million, which was a lot of money at that time, about $112 million in today's dollars. But even compared to DeWitt Clinton, we have invested more in upstate New York. And the economic development of upstate New York. So, such as what? Such as the casino resort destinations that we did just in upstate New York, not downstate New York, so people from downstate would actually come to upstate to see the casinos and the destinations, etc. Rivers Casino here, which is creating jobs. More in transportation funding, infrastructure funding. You see it in the Schenectady train station. You see it in a new Albany airport that's coming to life that is a regional airport for the entire Capital District region. You see it in the Kindle workforce development and communications test design, in Belgioso cheese, only I can pronounce that word, by the way, in the Electric City Robinson Block, in the REDC work, in Global Foundries, in Regeneron, in Floor Marine, and the RPI Digital Gaming Hub, which is doing great and we're excited about, Mohawk Harbor, Mill Artisan District, the Schenectady Innovation Project. These are all investments in the new economy, and it's working. How do you know it's working? Because the numbers say it's working. You can measure progress. The number of jobs are up. Tourism is up 20%. Unemployment rate in the Capital District, when we started, 7%. Today, 3.5%. And what I consider one of the most important statistics, the number of young people, because that is the future. And what was frightening about upstate was we were losing our young people for many, many years, where families were literally saying to their children, maybe you should think about leaving to find a better future. 2 decades ago, we lost 4% of our young people. This past decade, an 8% growth in the number of young people coming to New York and the Capital District. So, what's the next level of opportunity? Invest in our downtown areas. Why? Because when you're building, plan and build for the future. And the future for millennials is in downtown areas. They are different than previous generations. This is not a generation that said, I grew up in the city, I want to get out of the city, I want to go out to the suburbs, I want to get a little house with a backyard with a barbecue, I'm going to cut the grass on Saturdays. That's not their dream. That is not their dream. In many ways, they're smarter than that. They don't want to contribute to sprawl. They don't want to spend time driving in the car. They don't want to burn gasoline. They want to be in downtown areas. They want to be able to live and walk to work and walk to the restaurant and walk to entertainment and have a sense of relaxation and waterfront, and they want it all there. They're moving back into downtown areas. And it's all across the country. It's all across the world. But it is a new phenomenon with these millennials. And there's an opportunity in that. Because nobody has the downtown areas that we have. Now, we have to reinvest in them, but you look at what we have in terms of history and the architecture and all the combination of assets that they're looking for, it is there if you invest in those downtown areas. So we started a program called the DRI. Why? Because everything has to be an acronym in government, otherwise nobody knows what you're talking about. Downtown Revitalization Initiative. We're doing regional growth through the Regional Economic Development Councils, and then we started a downtown fund to come up with downtown revitalization initiatives, focusing on just bringing back our downtowns. In many ways, it worked too well. We had $100 million. We said we would have a competition, and we would pick the 10 best applications, the 10 best. That was the plan. We always have a plan. Sometimes it doesn't work, but we always have a plan. Now, Schenectady put in a great application. You took your waterfront, which is always the starting point and a major asset for any downtown that has it. You had the waterfront revitalization going on. Connect that with the other revitalized areas, with the Proctor block, if you will, and the development that's working here, Lower State Street. You have the Mohawk Harbor development. Connect those pieces. Connect that energy. And that's just what your downtown application did. It was very smart. It was very wise. Let's give the mayor and Ray a round of applause for their good work. But here was the problem. We were expecting 10 winners for the competition. We got close to 100 applications for the 10 slots, okay? So I want to talk to you a little bit about expectations. The competition was ferocious. Everybody wants to win, everybody wants to win. I know. New York City Marathon, everybody wants to win. I know. But there are thousands of runners. Everybody wants to come in first. But to come in second or third or even 100th is not bad in the marathon, right? Everybody wants to win $10 million. I understand. But if you win $5 or $6 or $7 million, that's still great, right? It's not the $10 million, but it's multiple millions of dollars to start doing what you were planning to do, and then you can compete again next year and get even more funding. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Okay. So with that backdrop, I'm pleased to inform you today that you have won $10 million, the highest award for your DRI. Congratulations. It's well deserved.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome President and CEO of Empire State Development, Eric Gerber.
Good morning, Schenectady. Good morning. Thank you, Governor. I am thrilled to be part of this very exciting announcement. Now, I'm going to confirm an important part of public speaking, and that is, it's not so important what I'm going to say, but who I follow. And, Governor, you're always a tough act to follow. So another round of applause for the Governor. Now, the governor just said I have big shoes to fill, and I do. But thankfully, I had a mentor once that taught me that to effectively negotiate a deal, you need to walk a mile in your opponent's shoes. And why? Because if the deal doesn't work out, you're a mile away and you have a new pair of shoes. So I want to first also make some important acknowledgments. I want to acknowledge our Capital Region REDC co-chairs, Ruth Mahoney, KeyBank's Capital Region Market President, and Dr. Havadan Rodriguez, President of the University of Albany. Schenectady City Council President Ed Kozier, former Mayor and Director of the New York State Canal Corporation Brian Stratton, and of course I also want to acknowledge all of the local elected officials, community, and labor leaders who are here joining us today. So thank you all. So as the governor talked about in his remarks, the legacy of this city is one of invention and innovation. But like many cities, many industrial cities in the Northeast that had a reliance on manufacturing base, as manufacturing moved away, this city started to see and feel the effects of a base moving away. Stores closing, factories closing, storefronts emptying, and more importantly, the loss of hope, neglect, and as the governor pointed out, young people that did not feel like that there was a future here in this city. That was the story of many, many cities around the Northeast. But starting in 2011, two important things happened. First of all, starting in 2011, the governor implemented, and he talked a little bit about it, his regional economic development strategy. Now, this was a strategy that focused on, and many of you know, bringing together many of the local leaders, city leaders, regional leaders, academic leaders, not in piecemeal, but together to think about the region and to think about what are the most important parts that need to be done to help revitalize that region. And I can tell you that when you walk around Schenectady today, you can feel the life that's already emerging. Now, an important part of this regional economic development strategy is the emphasis on the DRI, the Downtown Revitalization Initiative. And again, the reason is that in downtown, it's where people work, it's where they live, it's where they play. And as the governor said, it's where the young people want to be. And that's why it's so critical to want to and need to revitalize the downtown centers. Now, the second part of that, it's the people. And that is when you show that it's important to invest in the community, the people start to believe. The people see and want to be part of that. And that's also why we've started to see a renaissance here. Here, as a collaborative effort, again, among all of the local leaders, in helping to build this city, in helping to build the vibrancy, the arts and the culture centers, and ensuring that this city, with the waterfront, is filled with life and is a walkable city. And I'll tell you, this morning I had a chance to spend a little bit of time walking around this town, and I went to the J Street Marketplace, and I went to Villa Italia. You always have to go to Villa Italia. I actually had a quandary this morning. I didn't know whether to have the chocolate cannoli for breakfast or for lunch. So thankfully Bobby was there, and he told me both, have it for breakfast and for lunch. So I want to give a little bit of the detail about this city's DRI plan. And again, congratulations for winning this award. It's fantastic. And it really builds on the work that has been done in the last 8 years, the successes at the waterfront, and then connecting it down to right here in the Proctor block. So a few specific projects, a few of the specifics in the project include the J Connector, which will provide a direct link from downtown to the harbor. And you know how important that connector is because you get to go by Cornell and have a little bit of Italian food and Paracca's Bakery. Also, the Elco Tunnel Trail, which will connect J Street to Erie Boulevard. And after crossing Erie, it is only a short walk to Mohawk Harbor, where the Elco Tunnel Trail will connect to the bikeways, the roads, the pathways, and traverse the waterfront, including the Elco Heritage Trail. Now, the trail itself will expand and provide a direct link to the Canalway as it heads west. And then that brings both the downtown and the Mohawk Harbor into the statewide Canalway Trail. Now, the Metroplex, through a Manchig grant program, will place a special focus on completing facades along the Erie Boulevard Canal. And again, that will help the visual appeal, that will help commercial vitality in the region. That will be an important part in terms of helping to bring the downtown together with the waterfront. Now, additionally, the plan would include improved signage and wayfinding for the 4 direct links between the 2 major sections here, including the J Connector, the Elco Tunnel Trail, Erie Boulevard, and the Elco Heritage Trail. Some more exciting parts of the plan. A vital part of the DRA plan would also remove some of the long-term vacant and blighted buildings. And once we get rid of those buildings, that again enhances the connectors between the downtown core and the Mohawk Harbor area. And that'll make the city more attractive. That'll make people want to live here, but it'll also bring more and more tourists back to this region. And that includes the demolition and cleanup of the vacant Coyne building, which, as you all know, is a former industrial laundry facility located immediately adjacent to the Mohawk Harbor development on Erie Boulevard. The blighted former Sears store and former Pentagon restaurant, which have been vacant for many years, would also be demolished, as well as the long vacant Citizens Bank building, which is blighting a key corner of the Proctors block. So that will all be replaced by mixed development. And then lastly, 3 vacant buildings at the corner of State Street and Erie Boulevard would be redeveloped, linking the core of downtown with Lower State Street, and again, linking it with the Mohawk Harbor waterfront development. There are also 2 very exciting shovel-ready projects that are part of the proposal: the construction of the Capital Region Aquatic Center and the dock facility at Mohawk Harbor. Now, again, both of these are designed to bring more tourists into the city. The Capital Region Aquatic Center will be a state-of-the-art aquatic center designed to attract swimmers and divers, water sport enthusiasts, and allow families to come together and, again, enjoy the region and enjoy the town. And it'll be the only facility of its kind in a 3-hour driving radius for this region, and that is why it'll be a major tourism attraction. The public dock facility at Mohawk Harbor will be a 600-foot dock to allow large tour and visitor boats on the Mohawk River to tie up and then visit the waterfront. It'll be a regional attraction. It'll fill the waterfront access gap. And again, it allows the dock to be a community port and allows residents to connect with the waterfront. And again, an opportunity to provide for events, to host regattas, again, to bring it alive. The basic point with all this detail is that we have the building blocks that have been developed over the last 9 years that are coming together, that are coming to life. And that is why Schenectady is a perfect example of how the regional economic development strategy that has been devised and implemented under Governor Cuomo is reversing years of economic decline. Now, I've been all over the state in the last 2 months in my new role, and I can tell you that this is proof positive that this strategy works, that it shows that if you invest in the short term and you invest today, you can reap the benefits of tomorrow. As we say in the business world, and again an acronym, it's a great ROI. It's a great return on investment. So please join me. First of all, I want to thank Governor Cuomo for putting together this strategy, for creating great success here, and to use the motto of the state, Excelsior, ever upward. There is no limit to what can happen in this region. So thank you, Governor. Now, this morning, when I was at Villa Italia, and I was trying to figure out which cannoli I should have, and of course I went to the chocolate cannoli, on the screen, as I was deciding, was our next speaker, and I'd like to welcome him to the podium, Mayor Gary McCarthy. Thank you.
A great day for Schenectady. Good morning. I do want to thank everyone for coming out here today. A lot of you are on short notice. Again, Governor, it's always good to have you in Schenectady. It's great to have you in Schenectady when you're bringing a check, and we look forward to continuing that partnership. But Governor Cuomo's regional focus has produced the strongest economy in New York has ever seen. And Schenectady has certainly seen the benefits. We would not be here today without his vision, his leadership, and his commitment to locally driven economic development. And you know, when outlining the projects here in Schenectady and across really the state, when you're at these type of events, they look simple. Oh, everything's been done, but they're complicated. There's title issues, there are environmental issues, there's financing issues. And a lot of times why they haven't happened is people have walked away from those. They've been afraid of the challenge. And Governor, your leadership and your team in Albany have been really partners not only with Schenectady but no other communities across the state to work through those complicated fact patterns that allow us to do things that people thought could not be done. And you probably will never get the full credit that you deserve for that inspiration in driving that agenda that has made so much innovation and economic growth possible in all the communities that are proud to have you as their governor. I do want to acknowledge my predecessor, Brian Stratton, who laid the groundwork on a lot of the things that are happening here. Susan Savage, who was chair of the county legislature. It's really difficult times where Brian and Susan came together to, again, lay that team effort in place to produce real results. And you know, the application that just was outlined is an impressive document. Again, it builds on a great number of things that are happening in this community and allows us to go to the next level. And I want to specifically thank Sue Lombardi for her work on that, and again, Ray Gillen and the team at Metroplex. My partners at City Hall and the City Council, of course, Council President Ed Kosher, and council members stand up that are here. Governor, we know the problem of taxes, and again, it's with your partnership and working with Albany that, again, the budget just adopted by the City Council, again, cuts property taxes in the city of Schenectady for the 5th year in a row. And we look as a region to position not only the capital region, but the state to restore that role as an empire state. And it's so great to have the leadership here, President Rodriguez from the University at Albany, Tony Collins from Clarkson, David Harris from Union, Steady Mono from SUNY Schenectady, that we are training the workforce for the future. We're creating innovation, stability, and again, a sense of pride that was gone in upstate New York. And the governor's leadership has brought that back, and we're just so thankful, again, to be able to accept the award today. I know it's a competitive process, and all of us in this room give a pat on our back for the contributions that we've made to make this possible, because it's showing that Schenectady is setting the standards, that we're not afraid of competition. We're not afraid of competition within New York State, we're not afraid of competition within this country, and we're not afraid of competition globally. We're going to do things that set us apart, that make us unique, that provide services, provide innovation, and provide stability that we're all so proud of. Governor, again, I thank you for being here today, for your partnership, your friendship, and just your team in Albany that is so helpful in working through those problems that we face every day. And so I thank you for your support, and I think that you might have a check for us. Can we have the front row come up? Know that it's election day, the banks are closed, so the governor's going to get another day float on this check to keep the money in Albany.
No, it's a bus.